2.4, multiply real numbers. So we've done adding and subtracting, and now we're on to multiplying. So when multiplying two numbers with the same sign, the answer is always positive. And then when multiplying two numbers with opposite signs, the answer is always negative. So for the first one, if you had like 3 times 2, the answer is going to be positive 6. They were both positive. If you had negative 3 times negative 2, they are both negative. So when we multiply them, it's going to become positive. So it will still be positive 6. But if, let's say, one of them was negative and one of them was positive, so if we had negative 3 times positive 2, then that's always going to be negative, so it would be negative 6. So same sign, always positive, opposite sign, always negative when multiplying. And now sometimes you may actually multiply like 3 numbers in a row. So you have to do like the first 2 and see what happens, and then when you multiply the last one, then you have to compare those signs. Okay, so it'll be like done in steps. So something like negative 2 times negative 7. What would that be?
Positive 5.
Multiplying.
Oh, goodness.
14, is that what you said?
I'm so mad.
Positive 14.
I forgot what we were doing for a second. It's okay. My brain isn't functioning.
And then if we had negative 0.5 times negative 4 times negative 9, we're going to go left to right. So negative, 0.5 is like 1/2. So what's 1/2 of 4? Think about what's 4 divided by 2. 2. So, and both were negative, so what does that mean? Positive. So this is going to be positive 2 times negative 9. So what is that going to be? Negative 18, opposite sign, so always negative. All right, so then some out of the homework problems.
Oh, yes. It's not that much, actually.
Yeah. Number 4, we have 11 times negative 2. So what is that going to be?
22.
Negative.
Oh, yeah.
Negative, opposite sign, so negative 22.
You
that. I know where you live.
6, -8 times -11.
Positive 80.
Positive 88.
Positive.
Number 8. -2.5 times -1.3. So, probably going to need to review some multiplication of decimals, I'm assuming.
Probably. Yeah, we're not very good at decimals, I'm not gonna lie.
All right, so when we multiply, we're going to stack them up. So 2.5 times 1.3. Okay, they're both negative, so the answer is going to be positive, so I'm just ignoring the signs when I'm doing my multiplication. So we do the 3 times 5, so that's 15. So 5, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. What's happening? Then when we go to do the next number, we write a 0 below. Don't forget that. And then we do 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. And then we add. And we'll deal with the decimal points at the end. So 5 and 0 is 5. 7 and 5 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 and 1 is 3. So then we count how many decimal places we have. So we have 1, 2. So we move the decimal place over 1, 2. So our answer is going to be 3.25. And again, it's positive because they were both negative.
Okay,
Let's see, 10. -1/2 times -32. So I like to think, when I'm dealing with fractions, I like to think of it more as division. So what would 32 divided by 2 be?
It would be 1, 16.
16.
16.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And they're both negative, so it's going to be positive. So this is going to be equal to 16.
I have the 1, so I have to move it.
And sometimes it's easier to see it if you look at it like this.
That's what I did. I was just like. So it's easy. It's fine.
Let's see, 12. We've got 0.5 times -20 times -3. Okay, so when I see 0.5 as a decimal, I think of it as 1/2. It just makes it easier. So if you want to rewrite it that way, you can, to be 1/2 of -20, and I'll just write it over 1 so it's easier to see, times -3. So 1/2 times -20 would be what? Or -20 divided by 2 is what?
It would be -10.
Yep. -10, and then times -3, what would that be?
That would be positive 30.
Yep, positive 30.
I forget
Yeah, well, and if this isn't, I don't know if this is notation you've seen for how to redo multiplication before, with like the parentheses like being like side by side like that to mean multiplication, because sometimes that throws people off too if they haven't really, or if they haven't done a lot of it. Because my guess is you've probably seen more of like that when you've done multiplication.
Sometimes we see a lot of like 3n sometimes, you know. So
Yeah.
we have to like repeat it.
So if there's variables, which some of the problems later have variables in them, you would just, the variable touching it means multiplication.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. 14. -3/4 times 2 times -6. So again, I would think about this as 2 over 1. So are y'all used to like canceling, reducing? like if I'm, ignore the -6, if I'm multiplying those, since there's something on the bottom here, I can reduce down because those go into each other.
Oh, yeah.
So like 4 is
I
2,
can do that, yeah.
2, yeah. So we can get rid of the 2 and we can rewrite the 4 as a 2 because those things cancel when you multiply. Because ultimately, when we smush them together, we would reduce. So it's just a way of reducing before you multiply to make it a little bit easier.
That's what I thought, but I was like,
So now this middle piece is gone. So I have -3/2 times -6, and I'll go ahead and write it over 1. So what would that be? And you can just multiply it across and tell me what it would be, and then we can reduce after. It might be easier. And when we multiply like fractions, we multiply the top times the other top and then the bottom times the bottom. So we can ignore this part. What is -3 times -6?
9. I mean,
Multiply.
oh my goodness. 21.
18.
Oh,
yeah.
why did I say 21?
So, and it's positive because they're both negative, okay? Over, whoa, 2 times 1
2.
is 2. Now, these can be reduced down. What would that reduce to?
9 over
Yes.
1.
Yep.
I already did all of that. It's fine.
Didn't do it last year at all. I thought I looked at my
Reducing.
I forgot. I didn't do that's fine.
Click the numbers.
What? Look.
All right, this one, I'm going to do it in a slightly different order, and I'll show you why. -1.6 times -2 times -10. If I go left to right, like I've been doing in all the other problems, I'm going to end up having to set up 2 of these multiplication things with decimals because of the decimal number. Okay? Because I'm going to end up with a decimal, and I'm going to have to do it again. But if I do the right 2 things first, because multiplication, as long as everything's being multiplied, it does not technically matter what order we do it in. If I multiply the -2 times the -10 first, I'll only have to do one of those multiplication little chart thingies. So, -2 times -10 is what?
20.
Positive 20. So, -1.6 times 20. And then I'll see if y'all remember this trick from, or well, maybe.
You don't need the 0.
Yeah.
You
So
take it and
-1.6
add it. It's the
times 20. So we can just go ahead and bring the 0 down.
I did learn that in middle school, and I actually remember it.
Some people forget that you can do that, and they make it way harder for themselves.
I always do
So
that.
you basically save a step of your multiplication. So then you can bring the 0 down. Only works with 0. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. And then how many decimal places do we have?
1.
Just 1. So we move the decimal place over 1. So it's just 32. We don't need the 0.0 on the end. Now I had a negative times a positive. So what is my answer?
Negative.
Negative. You're so good at that.
Negative 32.
You have to be so smart.
I have a big brain.
All right. The next one's just say to find the product. It says something about justify your steps. You don't have to do that part. You just need to do the multiplication. So these ones have variables in them. So 28 y times -2 times -8. So what I would do is I would do the numbers first, okay, and then I would put the y in, and we always are going to put the variables at the end. So the variables are always going to go on the right side when we're done with our final answer, and we Now, it's not wrong if we don't do this, but it makes it nicer. We want to put them in alphabetical order if there's multiple variables. So if we had like X, Y, and Z, we would want them to be in that order at the end. Okay. So -2 times -8 is what?
Positive 16.
Positive 16. I feel like we're playing that. Did y'all ever play that Around the World game when you were little? I feel like we're doing that, but just with 2 people.
Like, it's tie.
I jumbled my words on the 16.
I know.
Like,
It sounded like you said 18, right?
So we have y times 16. So I'm going to rewrite the y at the end, and I don't need the parentheses when it's a variable. They can just touch, which means multiplication. So 16y.
It's being really rude.
All right, 30. 3/5 times -5q. Okay, so when I say like -5q, that just means that those things are being multiplied by each other. So we can also think about this again as being over 1. Okay, so what's going to happen there?
We're gonna reduce it down.
So we're going to get rid of this 5 and this 5. The negative is still here, though, with the q.
Yes.
So positive 3 times -q would be what?
It's gonna be negative.
I forgot what she said.
Positive q times negative 3.
So go ahead, take it from me.
3q.
Yep.
Negative 2, just so you know.
So the fives went away. One was positive, one was negative, so then it was -3q.
I'm gonna remember this on the quiz just because of our like going back and forth.
It's okay.
I'm gonna really good remember.
Like, did y'all ever do speed drills when you were in elementary school?
Actually,
I don't think so.
I don't think I did.
Oh
But
my goodness,
sister
they're so
did-
much fun.
My sister like did them. I think it was in school.
Yeah, I love speed drills because what it is it's like a race to see, like, you want to get them right, but it's like a race to see who can finish first.
I think I
The best
I
part
would
of
do
speed
every
drills though
time.
was the coloring picture on the front, and when you finish, you got to color.
I
the
would
best
lose
thing.
Every time.
My-
Because I'm a very slow math person.
Well, my
I just
brother
had
would
to-
like had like a multiplication chart, and he
I
like
didn't
timed
have
me
that,
to
and
see
I'm
how
so
long
mad.
like how long it took me to fill out the whole thing, and I get like prizes if like how long it took.
I didn't have
Like
that.
I get like a super big
don't
prize
know
if
where
I
I was.
beat my brother's time, but I never got to that because it kind of just like quit on me. So really difficult.
All right, so this one, I would save the decimal until you've done all the other numbers. Okay, in this particular case, they are left to right, so it works out. So -5 times -4.
Is that Z?
Yes.
Okay.
I will always, when I write Z's, you will always see me put a line through them. If I don't know if you've ever seen any other math teacher ever do that, but I will always do that because otherwise they look, if I don't, it looks like a 2. I actually have some students who write their 2s like that.
Really?
So, yeah.
I call it the cursive 2. I do the little loop.
No, the thing is, like, me and Kalia, like, write our 7s, like, just
I do like a
almost.
line here, there, and then a line through the
Because
middle.
it looks kind of like
Oh,
it if
it's-
you look at it.
Sloppy top hat.
Because I even have, like, a little, like, curve at the end, so it really looks like a Z. Is
Uh-huh.
that a Z or? It's okay, though.
It's okay, guys. I'm living. Kind of.
All right, -5 times -4 is what?
Positive 20.
Positive 20 times -2.1 times -z. Okay, so I have a positive times a negative, so my answer here when I multiply these numbers is going to be what?
A negative.
Negative.
It's going to be negative.
Affirmative.
So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do 2.1, and then with the 20, because there's 0, I'm going to do the fancy little throw the 0 off the end thing.
Goodbye. Oh.
So bring down the 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. How many decimal places do I have?
1.
1. So I'm going to bring it over. So I have 42. So -42 times -z would be what?
Positive 42Z.
Yep.
Yeah!
I thought it was a 7. Oh, no, I seriously, I was like, how
We
could
were
you
just
solve that
talking
fast?
about it.
It's just talking about this. It's not a 7.
I got it.
14. Thank goodness. Okay, I'm good.
Are you okay?
No,
Alright.
34.
34. Negative 5t times negative t.
Much.
So with this one's a little different. Okay, we have the same variable, so it's a variable times a variable. Do you remember what that looks like?
Oh, variable. It's the t, and then it has the squared.
Exponent.
Yep.
2 at the little top.
Yep. So the negative and the negative, what's gonna happen?
Positive.
Positive. So all in one thing, I can just get rid of that, and then we're gonna rewrite the t as t squared. That's t times t. All right. Any questions about those ones?
I love
We okay?
mine.
All right. So 3 through 17 odd. Okay, and some of them, when they are dealing with fractions, they rewrite them as mixed numbers. Just you can leave them improper.
Okay.
I'm an improper fraction person. I know it's weird, but I am so. And then the stuff that we just did, 29 through 35 odd as well.